Hey y'all, James here. I'm going to be talking in this video about what a vendor list is, why it's important for scaling your business, and actually how to get on them. So first, what is a vendor list? A vendor list is a list of suppliers that a company or franchise uses on a regular basis to keep their products and services consistent. Take McDonald's for example. Because they're such a large franchise, they have vendors for every little thing that they might need for their business. On that vendor list, they have the people who supply the hamburgers and all the different foods, and they have that all on the vendor list. And they also have service providers on those vendor lists to keep the business running smoothly. And that includes pressure washing. If you're having trouble with this concept, think about your own business. Where do you get your bleach? Where do you get your hoses when they burst? Where do you get the water you have? And that in and of itself is a vendor list. It's just not documented. And for franchises and large companies, all these little things are documented. And when you have it documented, then you've got all these competing companies wanting to get on your vendor list when you're big enough. So why would I need to get on commercial vendor lists? Well, getting on these vendor lists can probably be the most consistent way to get commercial work because you've got all these companies calling you. Instead of seeing a commercial property on your way to a job and walking in and giving the gas station owner, the commercial property owner, your business card, you are tackling a whole host of different franchises at once when you get on a vendor list. Because once you're on these vendor lists for all these franchises, they're the ones calling you. So when a restaurant owner or a gas station owner, a commercial property owner, when they need pressure washing services, they aren't going to look up on Google and find the top ranked pressure washer. No, they go to the vendor lists and that's where they find their pressure washer because it's on the vendor list and they trust the franchise's ability to distinguish who is a trusted pressure washer and who's not. Because the manager of that franchise will default to the vendor list when in need of a product or service. And this applies for all kinds of franchises. Restaurants, supply stores, hardware stores, grocery stores, all kinds of commercial properties, they all have vendor lists. And it's important for scaling your business because having that commercial work, that recurring work coming in consistently, regardless of a slow season, regardless of a recession, then you're set to bypass all the people who are ranked above you, and that way you will get commercial work consistently and keep cash flow coming in smoothly, and it really helps, gives you a foundation on which you can build residential work and scale from there. So why is it important to get on vendor lists? Well, getting on vendor lists provide you commercial work consistently, so during a slow season or recession, you are prepared. Because when you have all this commercial work flowing in consistently, then that's a base on which you can go and do residential work because you are essentially insured that you will have work during these slow seasons, which is really important because during these slow seasons, you're not going to want to be spending a ton on marketing and you're going to want consistent cash flow to keep your business afloat. Now for the most important question, how do I get on vendor lists? The first thing you need to do before getting on a vendor list is find out which one you want to target. If you're targeting smaller but more recurring business, I would recommend doing any fast food restaurant you can find for their storefronts as well as gas stations. But if you're trying to, say, go for higher ticket jobs and you already have that baseline of recurring commercial work but you want higher ticket to really boost your business, then I would suggest going for schools, college campuses, factories, or even military bases. So now you know exactly what vendor list you need, and now it's time to get on it. I'm going to use Speedway as an example to walk you through the steps. Alright guys, I'm logged into a new browser anonymously, so just to show you it's nothing fancy, and you can do it from your own computer. So if we're targeting Speedway, just go Speedway vendor list application. From here, we want to find the original corporate website. None of these, they're all off-brand, and here is the Speedway website. So we want to go to Contact Us, and from here, this is a waste of time. Do not fill this out. We're looking for a phone number, which is right here. We want the general, and from there we can get in contact with corporate headquarters, and then from there to the vendor list administrator, and then from there they will tell you the exact steps to get on a vendor list. So this is the phone number we're looking for, and from there get directed to corporate, to the vendor list administrator, and from there they will walk you through the steps to get on a vendor list. So let's try another example of getting a phone number. Let's try Arby's. Let's try Arby's. vendor list application. No, this is off-brand, and we want Arby's. That's the original, but there's no contact. Contact us, Arby's. There we go. That's what we want. If the vendor list application doesn't come up immediately, then the next best thing is contact us. So there's the phone number. That's all you need. It's the same steps. Get to corporate headquarters from this phone number, the general phone number. Get to corporate headquarters, get to the vendor list administrator, and from there get on the vendor list, walking through the steps that they tell you to go through. And again, the reason you want to do this is that you don't mess anything up, and that you already established that relationship with the vendor list administrator when you're in contact with them. So this is the next best thing if there is no vendor list application, phone number, or website. So that's all it is, guys. Alright, so now to government issued buildings. It's much easier because the phone number is more public. So if you go to, let's say, you're targeting the whole state, then you would want to go to a superintendent's office, and from there get on the vendor list for all the schools of your radius that you're willing to go to. So if we go to North Carolina, superintendent's office, and right there, that's it. We have that phone number. That's all we need to do. Just call them, and they will walk you through the process of getting on a vendor list for all the schools around. And let's say you're just wanting to target a county at a time. So my county is Guilford. County school vendor list is what we want. We want to target vendor lists. How do I? Yes. So they will provide all the information and a how-to. You want to go to fill out the vendor application and return it to the purchasing department. It is available at the vendor application page. So they already have one, which is great. Purchasing application, right there. It's a little bit easier just because you already have this public information, which might be harder to find for private corporations. So if you want to get on these government issued buildings, schools, whatever it may be, then you would go through all this information. Don't worry about this, just because most of the people pressure washing are old white guys, and you're not dealing with all sorts of minority competition typically. And then from there, it's just your customer information. So you want to have the most recent date provided. That'll provide more recency, relevance, and someone you really trust to give you a good review. 2 of those. And for the target volume for these applications, I would check under 50 grand, just because most of the schools are going to be under 50 grand. And if you check these off, then you're probably going to, if you check $50,000 to $100,000 as a pressure washer, they're going to be skeptical. So just go for under 50,000, and in any case that it is above 50,000, that's fine. It just gives you a ballpark. So under 50,000 to reliable customers, and from here you would do pressure washing, and then if you do add-on services like parking lot striping, asphalt clean or sealing, or anything like that, this is the place to fill it out. So that's all it is, guys. It's not rocket science, and if you, I would still call the superintendent's office if you want to go for more than one county, because like I said, this is one county, and if you have a 3-4 hour radius for the whole state, then you'll reach a lot more counties so at a time, and you'll be the go-to pressure washer in that area. So that's what you want to do there. I'm not really that interested in getting on more vendor lists than I am already, but if the opportunity arises, then I will actually be on the phone call just to show you what it all looks like. But it's pretty straightforward, so you don't need it. Maybe I might make a video in the future, but once you've gone through the vendor list application, typically there will be a minority business form where They will have you check boxes for being a minority-owned business, and you don't have to worry about it if you're not a minority. Most of the pressure washers out there are old white guys, gonna be honest with you, but there is very little competition when it comes to pressure washing vendor lists. Most people just don't know what they are, so don't be intimidated by not being a minority. Whatever time frame they give you, that they'll say they'll get back to you. So if they say we'll get back to you in 2 weeks or so, try and 5x that, because it's never on time, and it's fine though. It just takes a while. There's a lot of stuff going on in corporate, so of course you are the lowest priority, to be honest. So it'll take a while, but don't be discouraged. It's perfectly normal to wait at least 2 months to get a phone call back from the corporate headquarters. And from there, you're on the vendor list. They'll ask you what radius you want. You want to make sure you figure that out before they call you back again. So they will call you back. You'll have a radius in mind, like an hour out. Keep in mind that whatever radius you set, the most amount of that restaurant, franchise, company, whatever, will be at that farthest point in the radius. So if you set your radius to be an hour away, most of the restaurants you're going to do are going to be an hour away, just because it could be in any direction, and most of them are farther apart on the outskirts. So you're going to have maybe 2 or 3 restaurants within a 15-mile radius, and then maybe more like 50 in an hour radius, just because that's how distribution works, and that's how it will probably pan out. And once you've gotten the radius, you're all set to be on the vendor list, then you'll have the opportunity to set up recurring jobs with these gas stations or schools or whatever the franchise might be, and then you're set for recurring business. If you don't have that opportunity, that's fine, because once you're on that vendor list, you are the go-to pressure washer whenever a manager is in need of a pressure washing. So that way, if ever a manager is in need of your pressure washing services, you are the first person to call. So don't worry about setting up recurring business, because you already have first dibs on that recurring commercial work. That's all it really is calling the right people, getting in contact with the right people. But if you're having trouble networking online, or finding the right franchises, or whatever it may be when finding recurring commercial work consistently, schedule a call with me in the link below. It's a free strategy call, and it could really help your business. So feel free to schedule a call, and thanks for watching. Bye.